In a galaxy far from Earth, the Zorian Empire faced its greatest threat. The skies of the Zorian homeworld were filled with dark ships, each one larger and more powerful than anything the Empire had ever seen. These ships belonged to the Thraxians, a ruthless enemy known for their speed and strength. They conquered planet after planet, leaving destruction in their wake. The Zorian king, Valak, sat on his throne, worry etched on his face. He knew that if he did not act quickly, his people would be next. King Valak looked out over his palace, where the grand halls echoed with whispers of fear. His advisors spoke in hushed tones, discussing the inevitable fall of their civilization. The once mighty Zorian Empire was now on the brink of collapse. Valak felt the weight of his crown heavy upon his head. He had always been proud, but now pride would not save his people. They needed help, and they needed it fast. As the sun set behind the distant mountains, painting the sky in shades of red and orange, Valak made a decision. "We must seek help," he declared. The room fell silent. His advisors stared at him, shocked. "From whom?" one asked, disbelief clear in his voice. Valak took a deep breath. "From the humans on Earth." The room erupted in protests. "Humans? They are primitive! They lack the technology to help us!" another advisor shouted. But Valak stood firm. He had studied the humans and knew they had hidden strengths. They were clever, resourceful, and had survived against all odds. He believed they could be a powerful ally. After much debate, the advisors reluctantly agreed to send a message to Earth. Valak's heart raced as he prepared the communication device. The message was simple. "We need your help. Our world is under attack. The Zorian Empire will fall unless you assist us." He pressed the button, sending the message across the stars. Days passed, and Valak paced nervously in his palace. The council members watched him, unsure if they had made the right choice. Would humans even respond? Would they care about a civilization so far away? Just as doubts began to creep in, a bright light flashed in the communication room. The human response had arrived. Valak hurried to the room, his heart pounding. The screen flickered to life, revealing a group of humans. They looked at him with curious expressions. One man, wearing a military uniform, stepped forward. "I'm Captain Sarah Evans," he said. "We received your message." Valak felt a mix of hope and nervousness. "Thank you for responding," he replied, trying to sound confident. "We face a terrible enemy, and we need your help to fight them." Captain Evans nodded, her expression serious. "We know the Thraxians. They are a threat to many worlds. But why should we help you? What do we gain from this?" Valak felt the weight of his words. "If we fall, the Thraxians will not stop there. They will come for Earth next. We can unite against them. Together, we stand a better chance." A tense silence filled the room. The humans exchanged glances, weighing their options. Valak could see that they were considering the risks. Finally, Captain Evans spoke again. "We need to discuss this with our leaders. If we agree to help, we will do it on our terms. We cannot take unnecessary risks." Valak felt a rush of relief. "I understand. I will await your decision." He knew that this was just the beginning of a long and challenging journey. As the communication ended, Valak returned to his advisors. "They are considering our request," he said. The room buzzed with renewed energy. Hope flickered in the air, but it was fragile. Valak knew that time was running out. The Thraxians would not wait for them to prepare. In the days that followed, Valak spent every moment thinking of the humans. He had once viewed them as weak and unworthy of attention, but now they seemed like the only hope for his people. The fate of the Zorian Empire lay in the hands of a race the galaxy dismissed as primitive. Valak looked up at the stars, wondering what lay ahead. Would the humans answer the call? Would they come to their aid? The future was uncertain, but he was determined to fight for his people. Even if it meant reaching out to those he once deemed unworthy, he would do whatever it took to save the Zorian Empire. The message had been sent, and now all he could do was wait and hope. On Earth, Captain Sarah Evans sat in a dimly lit room with her fellow leaders, discussing the strange message from the Zorian king. They had gathered around a large table, and the atmosphere was tense. The walls were lined with screens showing images of the alien ships that threatened the Zorian Empire. The humans had always seen themselves as the underdogs in the galaxy, but now they had a chance to change that perception. "Why should we help them?" one of the officers, Commander James, asked. "The Zorians have never shown any interest in us." "Why now?" Captain Evans leaned forward, her expression serious. Because the Thraxians are a danger to everyone, including us. If we let them conquer the Zorians, they will come for Earth next. We have to take this seriously. The room fell silent as everyone considered her words. They all knew about the Thraxians, how brutal and powerful they were. But they think we are primitive, another officer said. What can we offer them? Captain Evans smiled, a glint of determination in her eyes. What if I told you we have been hiding our true power? We have advanced technologies that the galaxy does not know about. This revelation caught everyone's attention. What do you mean? Commander James asked, intrigued. For years, we've been working on secret projects, Captain Evans explained. Our scientists have developed new weapons and ships that are far beyond what anyone believes we can create. We have been preparing for the worst, just in case. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. We may be seen as a primitive race, but we are far more capable than they know. We have stealth ships, advanced weaponry, and strategies that can outsmart even the strongest enemies. The leaders exchanged glances, excitement brewing in the air. So you're saying we can help the Zorians, but in a way that surprises everyone? Commander James asked, his face lighting up with enthusiasm. Exactly, Captain Evans replied. If we go in strong and smart, we can turn the tide in this war. We have a chance to show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. With newfound determination, the leaders began to plan their strategy. They decided to gather their best scientists and military minds to prepare for the mission. Captain Evans assigned teams to work on stealth technology, weapons upgrades, and battle tactics. They worked day and night, fueled by the urgency of the Zorian plea. As the days passed, the human team made remarkable progress. They designed a new fleet of stealth ships that could evade detection by the Thraxians. These ships were equipped with powerful weapons and could carry troops and supplies for a full-scale invasion. The humans were determined to prove themselves. Meanwhile, back on the Zorian homeworld, King Valak waited anxiously for a response from Earth. Every day felt like an eternity. He had faith in the humans, but doubt lingered in his heart. Would they truly come to help? Or would they abandon him in his time of need? Just as he was starting to lose hope, a communication came in from Captain Evans. We have decided to help you, King Valak, she said, her voice steady. We are preparing our forces, and we will join you in the fight against the Thraxians. Relief washed over Valak. Thank you, Captain. I knew you would understand our plight. Together we can stand against this enemy. Captain Evans smiled. We will show them what we can do. I promise we will not let you down. With the decision made, the humans continued their preparations. As they worked, they felt a sense of pride. They were no longer the weak species others thought they were. They were becoming a force to be reckoned with. In the heart of Earth, excitement spread through the ranks of the military. Soldiers trained hard, practicing new tactics and preparing for their first battle against the Thraxians. The idea of fighting alongside an alien race was thrilling. Days turned into weeks, and the human forces grew stronger. With each passing moment, their confidence soared. They were ready to face the Thraxians and show the galaxy the true power of humanity. The secret they had kept hidden for so long was about to be revealed. As Captain Evans looked out over the training grounds, she felt a surge of hope. This was more than just a fight for the Zorians. It was a chance for humanity to prove its worth in the galaxy. They would no longer be seen as primitive. The time had come for humans to rise and make their mark. The day of the battle had finally arrived. In the depths of space, the Zorian and human forces gathered, ready to face the Thraxian threat. King Valak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Zorian Guardian, watching as ships filled the starry sky. Beside him, Captain Sarah Evans reviewed the tactical plans one last time, her face serious but determined. We are about to enter Thraxian territory, she said, her voice steady. We need to stick to the plan. Stay close to our stealth ships and avoid direct confrontation until we know their positions. Valak nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. We will not let them destroy our worlds, he declared. His heart raced as he looked out at the fleet. The Zorian ships glimmered with energy, and the new human stealth ships blended into the darkness of space, waiting to strike. As they approached the Thraxian stronghold, tension filled the air. The humans had been monitoring Thraxian communications for weeks, gathering intelligence. They knew that the Thraxians were confident in their strength, but the humans had a secret weapon: surprise. Captain, we are entering the target zone, one of the Zorian officers reported. Valak and Evans exchanged a determined glance. It was time to act. "Prepare to engage," Evans commanded. "On my signal, we will unleash our first strike." The crew of the Zorian Guardian responded quickly, readying their weapons for battle. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Thraxian ships detected!" another officer shouted. "They're approaching fast!" The screens lit up with red alerts as the enemy fleet appeared, a dark mass of ships armed for battle. "Now!" Evans shouted. The human stealth ships, which had been hidden among the Zorian forces, surged forward, launching their first wave of attacks. Brilliant beams of light shot from their cannons, striking the Thraxians before they had a chance to respond. The Thraxians were caught off guard. "What is happening?" their commander bellowed. "We are under attack!" The confusion among their ranks was palpable. Valak felt a surge of hope as he watched the chaos unfold. The humans fought with skill and bravery, their ships darting around the larger Thraxian vessels, exploiting weaknesses. "Keep up the pressure!" Evans commanded her crew. "We need to disrupt their formations." The battle raged on, with explosions lighting up the darkness of space. Zorian and human ships worked together, coordinating their attacks and protecting each other. The Thraxians quickly began to realize they were not facing an easy victory. However, the Thraxians were not easily defeated. Their ships regrouped and retaliated with heavy fire. One of the stealth ships was hit, and alarms blared on the Zorian Guardian. "We've lost contact with the stealth ship," a Zorian officer shouted, panic creeping into his voice. "Focus!" Valak commanded. "We will not give in to fear. We fight for our future." He glanced at Evans, who was calm and collected amid the chaos. "Let's take the fight to them," Evans said, determination in her eyes. "Order our ships to flank their right side while we hit their left. We can split their forces." Valak nodded and relayed the order. The Zorian ships adjusted their formations, moving swiftly to flank the Thraxian vessels. As they moved, they fired upon the enemy, taking out one Thraxian ship after another. The tide of battle began to turn. The humans' quick thinking and Zorian bravery were making a difference. King Valak felt a rush of adrenaline as they struck down another Thraxian ship. "We can win this!" he shouted, the thrill of battle igniting a fire in his heart. As the fight continued, Captain Evans spotted a massive Thraxian warship, the Gornak. It was heavily armed and posed a significant threat to their forces. "We have to take that ship down," she yelled. Valak agreed. "We will hit it with everything we have." With coordinated efforts, the Zorian and human ships focused their firepower on the Gornak. Beams of energy lit up the dark void of space, striking the warship's shields. "Shields are failing!" the Thraxian commander shouted, panic creeping into his voice. The crew of the Gornak scrambled to stabilize their ship as explosions rocked the vessel. "Now fire the torpedoes!" Evans ordered. The Zorian ships unleashed their most powerful weaponry, and the Gornak shuddered under the impact. In a final surge, the Gornak exploded, sending debris scattering through space. Cheers erupted on the Zorian Guardian. They had won their first battle together, proving that the alliance of Zorians and humans was stronger than anyone had anticipated. As the remaining Thraxian ships retreated, Valak and Evans shared a victorious smile. They had faced a formidable enemy and emerged triumphant. But deep down, both knew this was only the beginning. The war was far from over, and greater challenges lay ahead. The victory against the Thraxians brought hope to the Zorian and human forces, but beneath the surface, a sense of unease lingered. As Captain Sarah Evans and King Valak celebrated their hard-earned triumph, a troubling realization began to take shape. What had started as a simple plea for help was turning into something much larger than either had anticipated. Back on the Zorian Guardian, as the crew cleaned up after the battle, Evans and Valak met in a private chamber. The walls glowed softly with the lights of control panels, and the air was thick with tension. "Captain," Valak said, his voice low, "we must discuss the future. We won this battle, but what about the next one? The Thraxians will not give up easily." Evans nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. "I know. We need to gather more intelligence. We must understand their strategies and resources." Valak leaned closer, concern etched on his face. "There's something I need to tell you. A secret that I have kept from my people. It is about the Thraxians and why they want to conquer the Zorian Empire." Curiosity piqued, Evans sat up straight. "What do you mean?" "The Thraxians are not just a military force. They have been searching for something, a powerful artifact that lies hidden in the heart of the Zorian homeworld. Valak explained, his voice trembling slightly. It is said to give immense power to its wielder, enough to control entire galaxies. Evans felt a chill run down her spine. And you think they will come for it? That's why they attacked? Valak nodded gravely. Exactly. They believe the artifact will help them conquer not only the Zorians, but also the humans, and any other species that stand in their way. We must protect it at all costs. Where is this artifact? Evans asked, her mind racing with possibilities. How do we keep it safe? Valak hesitated, then spoke slowly. It is hidden deep within the royal palace on Zoria. The only ones who know its exact location are the royal family. I thought it was safe, but now I am not so sure. Captain Evans sighed, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. We need to inform our forces. They must be prepared for what is to come. Just then, alarms rang through the ship. Captain, we have incoming transmissions from our scouts, a crew member called out. Evans and Valak rushed to the command center where the screens displayed images of Thraxian ships regrouping in a nearby system. We have to act quickly, Evans said. They are planning another attack, and this time they will come for the artifact. We must use the element of surprise again, Valak replied, determination rising in his voice. We can't let them get their hands on that power. The human and Zorian fleets scrambled to prepare for the impending battle. Evans called for a meeting with her commanders. We will set a trap. We know the Thraxians will come for the artifact, so we will lure them in and strike hard. As the plans were made, Valak felt a growing sense of dread. He wondered if they could truly protect what was so valuable. The stakes were higher than ever. If they failed, the consequences would be disastrous. Meanwhile, as night fell on the Zorian Guardian, Valak couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He decided to go to the palace's archives, a place filled with ancient knowledge. He needed to understand more about the artifact and its history. As he delved into the dusty tomes, he discovered an ancient text that spoke of the artifact's true nature. It was not just a weapon. It was a key that could open a portal to another dimension, a place of unimaginable power. What have I done? Valak whispered to himself, panic rising. I must warn them. He rushed back to the command center, bursting in just as Evans was finalizing the plans for the battle. Captain, he shouted, his voice urgent. The artifact is more dangerous than we thought. If the Thraxians get it, they could unleash forces we can't even imagine. Evans stared at him, her expression turning serious. What do you mean? We must stop them! The artifact can open a portal, Valak explained, breathing heavily. If the Thraxians gain control of it, they could summon an army from another dimension. We have to destroy it! The room fell silent. Everyone knew the risk now. The weight of their decisions was greater than ever. They had to protect not just their worlds, but the entire galaxy from the dark truth of the artifact. With renewed urgency, Evans turned to her team. We must devise a plan to safeguard the artifact while we prepare for battle. We cannot allow it to fall into the wrong hands. The future of all our worlds depends on it. As the crew worked furiously to adapt their strategy, the reality of their situation settled in. The fight for survival was not just against the Thraxians, but against a far greater threat that loomed on the horizon. The darkness was approaching, and they had to be ready. The time had come for the final stand against the Thraxians. The Zorian Guardian and the human fleet were gathered in a secure position near the Zorian homeworld. Captain Sarah Evans stood on the bridge, her heart pounding with anticipation. King Valak was by her side, his face grim but determined. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of our people, Evans declared, her voice steady. We cannot let the Thraxians take the artifact. We know what it can do, and we must protect it at all costs. Valak nodded, his expression fierce. We will not allow them to exploit its power. We will defend Zoria and our allies with everything we have. The crews prepared for battle, each person focused on their tasks. The atmosphere buzzed with tension and determination. They had worked hard to set up a trap, hoping to lure the Thraxians into a vulnerable position. As the minutes passed, a sensor officer shouted, Captain! Thraxian ships detected on the scanners. They're heading straight for us. Evans felt a surge of adrenaline. All ships, prepare for combat! Activate shields and ready all weapons. The Thraxians arrived in a massive fleet, dark ships blotting out the stars. Their presence sent a wave of fear through the crew, but they knew they were not alone. Humans and Zorians stood side by side, ready to fight. Now, Valak shouted. Let's show them our strength. The Zorian and human fleets unleashed a barrage of fire, bright beams cutting through the darkness. The battle erupted and chaos filled the void of space. Explosions lit up the night as ships danced around each other, exchanging fire. The Thraxians fought back fiercely, their numbers overwhelming, but the alliance of humans and Zorians fought with determination. "Focus fire on their command ship," Evans commanded, pointing at the largest Thraxian vessel looming in the center of the formation. "If we take it down, we can break their morale." The crews worked tirelessly, targeting the command ship with precise attacks. Valak coordinated with the Zorian pilots, guiding them to flank the Thraxian forces, while the human ships harried the enemy from the front. But the Thraxians were relentless. They retaliated with heavy fire, and one of the Zorian ships was struck, spiraling out of control. "Mayday! We're hit! We need assistance!" A voice crackled over the comms. "Hang on! We're coming!" Evans shouted, but the Thraxians pressed their advantage. The situation was becoming desperate. Valak felt the pressure mounting. "We must hold the line," he urged. "Our forces are strong, but we need to regroup. Fall back to the secondary position." "Captain, the Thraxians are breaking through," an officer warned, eyes wide with fear. Evans took a deep breath, her mind racing. "We need to buy more time. Activate the stealth ships. Have them move behind enemy lines and attack from the rear." The order was relayed, and the stealth ships slipped into the shadows, disappearing from view. They crept around the Thraxian fleet, preparing to strike at just the right moment. Meanwhile, Valak and Evans moved to the command center's central screen, studying the battle's progress. They watched as their ships took hits, losing precious fighters one by one. But they also saw the stealth ships begin their assault, launching surprise attacks on the unsuspecting Thraxians. "Now's our chance!" Valak shouted. "We must take advantage of the chaos!" He rallied the Zorian pilots, sending them into the fray with renewed vigor. The tide of battle shifted as the Thraxians struggled to regain control. With the stealth ships causing havoc from behind, the Zorian and human forces pushed forward, striking hard at the heart of the Thraxian fleet. Evans felt a surge of hope as they fought. "Keep pushing! We are stronger together!" As the battle raged on, the Thraxian command ship began to falter under their combined assault. "They're breaking!" one of the officers shouted, excitement in his voice. With a final coordinated strike, the command ship exploded in a brilliant flash, sending debris flying. Cheers erupted across the Zorian Guardian, but Evans knew they could not let their guard down. "Regroup! We must focus on the remaining ships," she commanded. As the last of the Thraxians began to retreat, the Alliance celebrated their victory. However, a lingering fear settled over Valak and Evans. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. "Captain," Valak said, his expression serious, "we must secure the artifact now. It is more important than ever." Evans nodded, knowing the danger it represented. "We will protect it at all costs. Together, we will ensure that such power never falls into the wrong hands." As the remaining ships returned to the Zorian homeworld, Valak and Evans shared a determined look. They had faced a great challenge and emerged victorious, but they understood the road ahead would be difficult. The alliance of humans and Zorians had just begun, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would defend their worlds, protect their future, and forge a new legacy.